Hi, I'm making this video because I had an endoscopy on Tuesday this week, and before I went I was really nervous about it. It was something I was dreading, to be honest, because I'd had braces before and even the impressions made me gip, so I was just thinking, if even that made me gip, then having the tube down my throat obviously would do. So I opted for the excuse me, local anaesthetic, which was a spray. Well, I didn't ask for that specifically, but they did give that to me, and I asked for sedation. And I was under the impression that when you sedated, you just sort of very calm. Like, I thought it would work maybe a bit like a beta blocker, and that it would be just sort of like I'll be fully aware of everything. I would just be, more relaxed. But to be honest with you, I can't really remember much of the procedure. When I arrived at the hospital, I spoke to a nurse and checked that everything was okay, and he, weighed me and everything, and confirmed that I wanted sedation. So then I was taken into a room where there were a load of beds, separated by curtains, but they were all open unless someone was in them. And a different nurse put a needle in my arm. I think they're supposed to do it in your hand, but he couldn't find a needle in my hand, so he put it, in the crease of my elbow, just like you would for taking blood. And then I believe that the needle doesn't stay in your arm. A sort of tube is in its place, sort of pushed in, and then it's sort of covered with a square plastic film. And he put like saline solution in just to make sure it was all sealed and everything, and that's the place where they put in the sedation. So I went in. They sort of wheel you on your bed into the, I guess it's like an operating theatre, but it's obviously not a surgical procedure. And I was asked, that is where they sprayed the local anaesthetic on the back of my throat. It doesn't taste nice, and it starts to feel weird. Like you'll feel like everything's expanding and swelling, but it's not. Like they assure you that nothing's swelling up and you can swallow and breathe as normal. And the nurse in there just asked me to focus on breathing through my nose, and it made me gip with the spray. And then they asked you to bite on this like plastic device. It's probably about this big, but it mostly covers your mouth, and then you just sort of bite on a little bit in the middle. But when I looked at it, I sort of get thinking about it because I thought I had to put the whole thing in my mouth. And so the nurse then decided that I shouldn't have the oxygen in my nose, which I was kind of disappointed about because, as other people have said in these videos, it's like the typical thing that happens on films. When you see someone in the hospital, they have the oxygen. I was quite looking forward to that bit. But the nurse thought that because I was so sensitive, it wouldn't be a good idea to put anything else sort of in my face, just for risk of, it being too much for me. So the nurse asked me to bite on the device first because she said once I was sedated, then I probably wouldn't let her do it. And she said that I could hold onto it, so I could. So that made me feel better. That I wasn't like pushing it out with my tongue or anything. I just held it in place. And then she gave me the sedation, and I remember her rubbing my arm, and I was laying on my side, and I can't really remember anything. I can't remember them putting it in my mouth, the endoscopy, or the endoscope, and I just really can't remember anything other than I think it must have been when they were bringing it back up. I was gipping, and I believe that I sort of vomited water. Like, I hadn't eaten anything, until the night before. Like, I hadn't eaten anything from the night before, sorry. But I did have a glass of water in the morning, and I seem to remember I was definitely gipping, and then I seem to remember feeling wet on the side of my face, and the nurse putting down like towels, and I seem to think I heard them say suction, but I don't know if that's just because I've been watching too much Grey's Anatomy, and I imagine that's what they would do. But then it was done, and then I was back in the room that I was initially, and a different nurse came up to me and said, okay, just sleep off the sedation. And I can remember thinking, there's no way I'm going to go to sleep. I've just had an endoscopy, because it woke me up if I was asleep, the endoscope coming up. And I just remember thinking, there's no way I'm going to go to sleep. You know, I'm in a room full of people. It's broad daylight. But anyway, for some reason, I felt quite upset, and I was sort of not like crying, but sort of sobbing a little bit to myself. And a nurse came up. I was trying not to show it, but I'm guessing I did. I mean, she didn't say anything, but like when I was trying to sleep, I pulled the cover over me and was just sobbing quietly to myself. But then the nurse came over and pulled off the like the see-through square patch that was holding the needle tube in place. And I think I said ouch while she was doing it, which is like, you know, it's not something you say, is it? You know, when you go and I don't know, have your blood taken or anything, yeah, it hurts, but you don't exactly go ouch, because I mean, I'm 20. It's, don't say ouch having a plaster ripped off. And then she apologised, saying, yeah, you know, it's best to just get it done quickly. But it just seemed to take forever, and I was going, ow, but it hurts. And anyway, so she got it off and then replaced it with just a bit of cotton wool and like gauze tape. And that's all really I can remember of it. I mean, I felt slow afterwards and kind of dizzy the next day. And oh, you feel because they have to, I believe they have to sort of pump a little bit of air into you know, to be able to see better. And so I felt really bloated, and it was like painful gas. But if you can pass the wind, then it sort of goes away. But I mean, I was sort of uncomfortable for the rest of the day and very tired. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can remember of the experience. I know that I really wish that you could buy whatever the sedative was over the counter, because, you know, knock me straight out. But all in all, like, I don't think, I know it's impossible to say, but I think it's really, on a scale of 1 to 10 of how not looking forward to it I was, 1 being I'm fine and 10 being I'd really rather not. I don't know, I was like a 9.5 at least, but I really was not looking forward to it. The reason I went for it was because I believe that I may be allergic to gluten, because I have, you know, negative reactions when I eat it. And when I went on an exclusion diet a few months ago, I felt much better. I lost a lot of weight, not in a bad way, in a, you know, I was getting to a healthy weight. But then when the doctor told me to go on a gluten inclusion diet, it was just very painful, very uncomfortable. And anyway, that's why I thought that I may have celiac or be celiac. I'm not really sure, you know, the way of saying that. But I've got to wait 10 to 14 days to get the results of that. So it's been 4 days. Yeah, 4 days. So yeah, I'll probably post another video pending the results of those, of the biopsies that they took. I forgot to mention that they may take biopsies if you're being tested for something. They told me that you know, everything looked normal, and on a sheet that I got, it said that the patient tolerated the procedure well, which was good, because I really thought, like, you know, when I woke up and was like, there's water and whatnot, I really thought, oh, you know, have I gone and embarrassed myself? Have I been convulsing the whole time and not known? But so it seems it went well, which is good. But yeah, even if it turns out that I don't have celiac, then I'm still going to be on a gluten exclusion diet, just because I feel so much better. I know myself. I mean, it may just be, like the doctor said to me when I went for my consultation, that it could be something else that's in products that contain gluten. Typically, you know, it could be something in the pasta, like, I don't know, semolina maybe. I don't even know. But I'm vegan, and so I'll be going to see, the doctor recommended that I see a dietitian, because, you know, I'm already on a restricted diet, and she thinks that giving up gluten would be too much. But I mean, when I did, I just felt so much better. I mean, I've been told that I have IBS, so I mean, it could just be that. I know that gluten does affect people with IBS, they say, you know. I mean, they're all different things, so I guess we'll just see. So I'll wait for the results. I mean, I've heard that you can get coupons for food if you do have celiac. So that'd be nice. You know, I'm a student. I mean, of course I can afford food, but it'd be nice to not have to, you know, worry about spending that extra, because I mean, gluten-free oats, it's like £3 for a very small bag, whereas it's, you know, if you go to Tesco, Asda and get their own brand, you get a huge bag for 50p, or, you know, less than £1 anyway. So it's really inconvenient anyway. But yeah, I'm really sorry, the buzzing and everything in the background, that is my washing machine. I'm being a good student, I live alone and I'm doing laundry. But yeah, if you're going for an endoscopy, I really strongly recommend that you have a sedation, because I mean, I've heard from other people that have just had the sprays, usually men are like, you know, they think that they're tough and can handle it, but they said that it was, you know, quite a, not a traumatic experience. It was, I believe it was in a way, because, you know, I was so upset afterwards for no apparent reason, but I mean, it obviously must have bothered me on some subconscious level, but I would say don't worry about it, because it's not going to hurt like you think it will. I mean, you have a sore throat afterwards, but I really can't remember the feeling of it in my throat or anything. It was just it coming up and it was gipping, and I kind of wasn't bothered at the time, you know. It wasn't like, oh, I need to get this out of me now, you know. You know, like, if you've ever had impressions, you'll know what I mean, like when they've got it in there and they're holding it in. I mean, that's if you've got a sensitive gag reflex or claustrophobic in any way and you don't like people in your face. It's nothing like that, really. It's really, the only way I can really describe it is, like, for me, gipping is worse than actually being sick. And it kind of feels more like being sick because the thing is coming up, so it's kind of more of a relief in a way. It's really difficult to explain. But really don't, I know it's easy for me to say it now in hindsight, but if I were to have one again, to be honest, I'd be kind of looking forward to the sedation again. But yeah, I would, you know, I won't worry about it in the future if I have to have another one. And so all I can say is please don't worry too much. You know, nurses are used to people being worried, so they will be able to calm you down and comfort you. I mean, I had my procedure done at Doncaster Hospital, and you know, all of the staff were really lovely, you know, and joking around. Like one of the nurses said about the doctor, oh, he's very good, trust him as a doctor, or something to that effect, and the doctor didn't get it, and it was quite funny that all the women in the room got it and he did not understand that. Yeah, anyway, it's irrelevant. But yeah, don't worry, it's really not that bad. I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, there are worse things, you know. So yeah, don't worry. Okay, bye. Oh, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below, or just message me or anything. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, bye.